Good morning, and welcome to Redeemer Lutheran Church in Columbia, South Carolina, where we're part of the ELCA. I'm Pastor Gary Lodeholt. There's an amusing detail in the biblical book of Esther. The King Ahasuerus, found that he couldn't sleep one night, and when the king can't sleep, then neither can anyone else. He summoned his court officials, went into the throne room, and had the official court record read to him. These were the official records of what had happened and the decisions the king had made on a daily basis. Talk about boring. And that was just the point. The king hoped to be bored back to sleep. I guess in today's world that would be something akin to reading the congressional record, and I doubt that's something many of us do often. We don't typically find the minutia of running the government to be scintillating reading. It's insomnia producing instead. This week we are looking at 5 books in the Bible that we don't often turn to. Hidden treasures, I'm calling them. And asking the question, why are these in the Bible? Our topic for today probably concerns the one I know the least about and have looked at very little, the book of Chronicles. It's so long, in fact, that it is split up into 2 separate books, First Chronicles and Second Chronicles, and frankly, they have a strong similarity to the congressional record. I'm not implying that they are boring, but they are something of the record of what various kings did during their rule. The report was the chronicle of events and decisions. To make matters worse, 1st and 2nd Chronicles tells much the same story as the books of 1st and 2nd Samuel and 1st and 2nd Kings. And frankly, Samuel and Kings tells it in a much more interesting narrative. In Chronicles, we have the record. In Samuel and Kings, we have the story. On top of that, this was a confusing time in the history of Israel. When King David died, his son Solomon took the throne, and when Solomon's time was over, the nation split into 2 separate nations. The one in the north kept the name Israel, while the nation in the south became known as Judah. So Chronicles tells the records of several kings in 2 different nations. It was the job of the king in those days to lead the people to follow God. I guess in some ways you might describe it that he was to be the believer in chief, the person to inspire and lead the nation in faith. The problem was that quite often the kings were enamored of their own power and forgot all about God as they sought to serve themselves. Every now and then you would have a good and faithful king, but more often than not, the kings led the people to abandon and forsake the covenant they had with God. And that's where Chronicles comes in. You see, as Chronicles reports on all these things, it is clear that they are weak and vacillating in their commitment to God. Even more, it is abundantly clear that even so, God remains faithful to God's people. It's a powerful point for us to remember, too. We aren't always fully committed to God, and it is a gift of grace and comfort to know that God remains fully committed to us, even when we fail. Chronicles reminded the people that they were God's people. It served to bring to mind their identity and their vocation to follow God in all things. They were reminded of God's faithfulness even when they were faithless. And as the line of King David is followed, we follow along as it points over and over again to the coming Messiah. What we see in Chronicles is that God's covenant promises endure. In these pages we find that worship and prayer are the foundation of renewal as God's people. Another powerful teaching for us. Most importantly, we find that history is retold with a focus on our hope in God's future. Maybe this is a strong message for today, something we need and long to hear. Even after failure, even when things look bleak and there's no human way forward, God gives a future grounded in God's promises. It's enough to wake you up in joy and excitement. Thanks for watching, and remember to let this day belong to God.